cauldron blazing in the fire, lapping flames grow ever higher. Tongue of toad and wing of bat, mixed within this bubbling vat. Raven's claw and serpent's scale, dragon's blood and scorpion's tail. A plague of nightmares I invoke to rise up from the ash and smoke. Spider's web and eye of newt, viper's venom and mandrake root. Hearken ye to my commands. Come forth to haunt these withered lands. Unleashed from depths of blackest night, slither, crawl, and take to flight. And in the darkest midnight hour, all gather round the witch's tower.
Children of the night. We are the denizens of the dark, cloaked in blackest shadow. We are the fallen angels, soaring through ebon skies upon raven's wings. We are the wolves that prowl the midnight hours to prey upon the harmless. We are the descendants of the dragon's blood, the keepers of the ancient flame. We are the chosen ones who dare to explore the mysteries of the unseen realms. We are legion, for we are many, and united, we cannot be vanquished.
I live in the West along the California coast, and even for me this is a most curious problem I have encountered here. San Francisco has always been considered by those who live here to be like a black hole. Once you enter you can never escape from it. I thought at one time that maybe it had something to do with the ley line energies. It has been said that more often than not near the junction points of the Schumann resonance as it breaches the surface and transitions from sound wave to kinetic energy waves, that it's common to have an increase in paranormal activity in those regions because of the intersecting energy patterns. One such place, for example, is in the United Kingdom near Sussex and Canterbury, the home of the Hounds of the Baskerville and the Banshee, oh yeah, and Stonehenge too. That region has long been known for strange random paranormal events. Things such as the living haunted houses like the House on Haunted Hill movie, where it's not that the house is haunted by a dead spirit but it's the house itself that is the spirit haunting it, or towns that have reoccurring ghost appearances that people sometimes get pulled into and become a part of the legend. Even some of our myths and legends of monsters in our past can be attributed to these energy convergence areas that, through a sheer series of the right unfortunate events and energies, twisted and created things that were once thought of as fiction into reality. Supposedly this is the reason the Masonic Order of Templars had originally began building their temples, geometrically calculated to be set on the intersecting ley line energy patterns that breach the surface. Within these temples are architecturally designed to precision, with an interior design that redirects the kinetic energy using the natural elements that have a direct effect of the flow of energy as it passes through the crust of the earth. The extravagant design hides the laced stone structures that achieve this effect, but it is not an idea they originally conceived. The idea goes further back to the Babylonian ziggurats, for they were built with a similar purpose in mind. Yet we live in a society that believes magic is a thing of fantasy and not real. I believe there are a string of all of our ancestors that would contest otherwise. There is more to it here in this region than just magical lines and mana pools. However, though there is a ley line that runs through the city for sure, because there is a Masonic temple here in the downtown area. If you know your history or architecture classes, if you build buildings, you'll know that any city that has a ley line running through its inner city structures will have a Masonic temple erected somewhere in the city as well. It's hard to tell the true reason why, but the logical solution, as opposed to the historical religious reason I pointed out earlier, points towards that they understand the effect the ley line energies can have on the topography of the earth, and these temples are built to redirect or dampen those energies' effect within the city's boundaries, keeping the building foundations firmly in place and not pulled out of place by the Schumann resonance's sometimes intense effects it has when it surges and fluctuates occasionally. This reason is the basic explanation that most building architects will tell you even today. But once again, this does not apply to the effects caused in and around the San Francisco area. I have noticed throughout the world in various regions that there are spots similar to this area, and the effect that it has, like a spiritual vortex that does not allow anything, ghost or otherwise, to leave. The Native Americans, another culture whose ancestors understood the ways and functions of the ley line energies much like the Templar Masons, in this region say that the surrounding area, called San Francisco, is a landfill island and not naturally built, was considered tainted and evil grounds because nothing grew upon its soil. Their ancestors believed it was cursed, and the shamans said that the turbulent currents, both weather and spiritual, would not allow one to be able to achieve the great sleep upon its soil, or basically their spirit would not be able to find peace. So I dug a little further into angelic lore, and supposedly this region was one of the major battlegrounds in the Wars of Heaven during the rebellion. By their accounts, after God had ordered Gabriel and Michael to hunt down the children of the fallen ones, Azrael, the son of Azazel, fought with the archangel Raphael in this region. Raphael defeated Azrael, gouging a ravine within the Grand Canyon's bottom, and impaled his son upon one of the rocks in a cavern down there, and then buried the cavern in on itself, thus carrying out God's commandment that the sins of the father shall be inherited by the son and paid in full. In retaliation, it is said that Azazel flung the souls of the dead at heaven's gates for 3 months straight, trying to break it down until he ran out of souls to throw. It was then, supposedly, that Archangel Raphael had used the blood of Azrael to curse those who followed Azazel and banished them into the shadows of darkness, so that they only could safely walk the earth at night, and by day they would be scorched by the sun's light. Other strange occurrences coincide with this tale, such as the legends of Superstitious Mountain in Colorado. Also, another historical aspect I discovered when going through the ancient world maps of Piri Reis is that of the western coastline of America marked the entrance into the region once known as the Valley of Shadows, which was the entrance into the lands of the dead ones long ago, before the antediluvian era, when these regions were still above sea level and was listed to be inhabited by creatures known only as the Ancient Ones in the deepest regions past the Valley of Shadows. The beginning of the entrance to the valley was marked to be around 50 to 90 miles of the current coast of Malibu. Checking the satellite imagery of the seafloor, I have located what appears to be a naturally formed shelf-like outline of what could have been this Valley of Shadows traveled pathway. That leads about 250 miles out into the sea before it looks as if erosion covered the pathway. As far back as I can trace tales into this region, though, it all tells the same description though as the Native Americans had. That this region has never been known to have flourished plant life or vegetation, and its soil was always barren and without life.
We now return control of your television set to you. Until next week at this same time, when the control voice will take you to the outer limits.